Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. I'm Roberta Saphire, an attorney in Massachusetts.
And I'm Camille Barron, a financial coordinator also in Massachusetts. And Roberta, we've had a lot of people asking us about health insurance and how can they keep their expenses under control. And one of the areas of that, that we don't always think about is our teeth, our dental insurance.
I think about that every morning and night.
You brush your teeth twice a day. So we have a guest, a first-time guest, who's going to be helping us with that.
Yes, and we're very happy and fortunate, and it took us a long time, but a lot of people suggested contact Dr. Matt Finkelstein. He's right in Sharon, and he's also was Jerry Saphire's longtime dentist, and mine now too. Nice teeth. Anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
We always start with, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about yourself, how you became a dentist and all that.
How I became a dentist.
We'll start out.
Are you ready for that story?
Yeah, we'll start out. Where are you from, anyway?
I'm from originally New York. Born in the Bronx. Ended up in Long Island. Went to school, undergrad in Washington, D.C. And then I applied to dental school, which actually the story kind of leads into that. So I'll go there. But this will be the edited version.
Okay.
Because there's an unedited version, but I think for this particular venue, I think we'll go with
Well,
the
maybe
edited
after
version.
the show he could tell us the unedited.
I could.
Yeah.
I could. A little more interesting, but, children under 12 probably wouldn't appreciate it. So, gosh, this is so weird. Because it's really a bizarre story. But to my patients out there who know me, you probably say, "Oh, that's Matt. It's okay." So I was.
They all love you, by the way.
I
come in.
hope so. I love them too. I love my
good.
patients. I do.
Good.
It's a mutual thing. They're just not patient. I'll get back to the story in a second. So I was at my doctor's office probably about 5 years ago, and I just switched physicians. So I've been seeing him for like 20 years. And I'm like, "Hey, Dr. XYZ. I said, "What's up?" So he looks at my chart. He goes, "Patient 124789, come with me." And I said, at that point, I'd known this guy for 20 years, and, I was just a number to him. And then I decided to switch doctors. But let's get back. Yeah. So,
That's interesting.
so I try to operate from a more personal view. When I see patients, I actually know who they are, and I know who their families are, I know who their kids are, and I've been seeing them for years and years and years, and it's all very relaxed. I try to make it so that it's like I have friends over, except the difference is I'm drilling their teeth and they're paying me. and we're not having cocktails.
So what made you decide to become a
So
dentist?
I was dating this girl, and actually it was our second date. Her old boyfriend, who just got out of prison, showed up. He did. It's true. But I didn't know that. We were only on a second date. So he shows up at her house armed, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my God, today's the day I'm gonna die." But fortunately, we called the cops. The police came, and then they're all sitting around. They said, "Well, I think he was in prison for some sort of violent offense," and they said, "Well, you should leave, but she should go somewhere." So I was like, "All right, well, it's a second date." So I was like, "Oh, that's cool," but it's our second date, so all of a sudden, before I know what happens, she's got nowhere to go, and she's got 3 garbage bags packed in the back of my car, and we're headed back to D.C. So she's gonna stay with me for a little while. So clearly the boyfriend wanted to kill her. I probably would have been next, but she was a little bizarre. And one night we were out, and she was angry at me, and she started to take her shoe off, and I'm thinking to myself, why is she taking her shoe off, right? To hit me with the shoe. So she clobbered me on my left side and broke tooth number 18.
Tooth number
18, the whole buccal
God.
cusp fractured off. And I'm like, okay, I guess you needed to get that out, but whatever. But she ended up moving out like the next week.
So you didn't end up marrying her?
No. No.
Otherwise, more than 18 would have been
Yeah, no,
out.
she was pretty cool, except for the whole shoe thing, and I don't even know why that happened. But anyway, so now I need to find a dentist because I'm living in D.C., and actually Virginia, right across from the Potomac, and you can actually see the Pentagon from my my bedroom window. So there's a dude who lives in my apartment building, and I know he's a dentist, but he's got like long hair. He's kind of a freaky guy, but I knew he was a dentist. So I went knocking at his door, and he opens the door. He's like, and we had seen each other in the hallway in the lobby. He's like, yeah, man, what's up? I said, you're a dentist, right? He goes, yeah. I said, 18, broken.
Did you know it was 18?
Actually, I didn't know
You
back
didn't know
then.
it was 18.
But lower left, second molar, I think I knew that. So I'm like, dude, I said, can I get your card? Because I got this broken tooth. My dentist in New York seemed like a cool guy. And I noticed he had a drum set in the back. And I'm like, because I'm a big music guy, I'm like, you play? He's like, yeah, I play. And he's, played drums to me. And we had a couple beers. So it turned out that he grew up within a mile from me in New York.
Wow.
Our dads actually knew each other and did business together.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Small world, but it
So,
happens a lot, huh?
So then we became friends, and then one night we were out, and I used to actually go to his office and to pick him up because we worked really close to each other. So he would always send me in the back, and he would say, hey man, can you do this or put this tooth here? Because back in the day, dentists did a lot of their own lab work. So I was kind of good at it. He said, Matt, he goes, can you come in early? Because I got a denture case I'm delivering, and I just need some adjustments. So I would do that for him, and it was great, and then we'd go out and have dinner usually. So one night I was complaining about my job, and I said, and I think I was also working on a master's in genetics, plus I had a job. So I'm like, I don't know if I can sit in a lab for the rest of my life.
Well, what were you going to do? I mean, what were you
I don't
going to
know.
school
I was
for
like,
at the time?
I went to school. I went pre-med, but so I figured if I'm working pre-med, I should also volunteer at a hospital. So, you know what happens at hospitals? Unfortunately, sometimes
They smoke.
no people die.
Oh,
Yeah.
people die.
that-
you got to stay out of
yeah, and
hospitals.
that kinda-
as
right.
they say.
And like I just couldn't envision myself. I couldn't envision myself going home and eating dinner after losing a patient. So how do you do it? Like occasionally we lose a tooth, but I'm fine. I go home, I eat dinner, everything's okay.
Yeah.
We can fix it. But with medicine, so I remember talking to my dad, and I said, Dad, I worked in the ER tonight, and I saw another person die. I can't handle it. I can't be in any way connected or responsible, even if I didn't do the right thing.
Was your father in medicine?
No, but he wanted me to be a doctor so bad. But anyway, so he was crying, I was crying.
Oh, boy.
And I said, you know what? It's not going to happen. I can't do it.
Isn't that funny? Your dentist friend, you had a good experience from your dentist
Yes.
friend. He was an inspiration to
He
you.
was.
And he found that you were good at something. That we have, I just as a side thing, we have like a lot of interns that work with us, and I swear they all seem to go into nonprofits. And then we get this little letter in the mail. Thank you, you inspired us, and this and that.
That's nice.
So,
That's a
so
great
that's
thing.
nice. So he did that for you.
So yes,
Yeah.
Steve Goldstein,
Steve.
he's now a periodontal prosthetic specialist in Arizona.
Oh.
He's very good too. But so not going to medical school, so I had done all the prerequisites. So for me, it was just making a decision, taking a dental admissions exam, and just applying to different colleges, and then I got accepted. But so we go back. If I hadn't met the girl whose boyfriend wanted to kill her, and she moved in with me, hadn't hit me in
Yeah.
the face with the shoe, never would have hooked up with Dr. Goldstein, never would have became a dentist.
So
Imagine
he
that.
fixed your tooth, I
He
assume.
did. I ended up having a root canal on it like 20 years later, but it's fine now.
It's fine.
It's still here. She tried to get rid of it, but no. If you're out there watching, I still have the tooth.
Okay, so Camille, you are into insurance, and we talked about medical,
Yes. So
but dental can be expensive
yeah,
too.
so a lot of times people you know, they have to have a root canal.
Great story, by the way.
Yeah, it was
Thanks.
one of the best we've heard.
It's
Yes.
true.
Totally
Accurate.
unexpected
Great.
turn.
Yeah. And again, that's the edited version. so.
Yeah, fascinating.
I can't wait to hear
really.
the unedited version.
Yeah.
That'll be later.
Go ahead, talk about
So yes,
medical bills. and
yeah.
things.
So one of the things that people are really challenged with is medical expenses, and at least for your standard medical expenses, most people have insurance, and to some extent, the insurance pays for it if you have insurance. But it always seems that you go to the dentist and they find out you're going to have a crown put in, or you have to have a root canal, and it takes an unexpected toll on people's budgets sometimes.
does. It
Even
does.
with insurance.
Yeah.
So, wondering if you had any observations on, for an average person of average means, how can they better prepare or manage that?
The thing is that's unusual is evidently teeth are not part of the human body because your insurance doesn't cover it. So let's say you had an issue with your baby toe. Okay. So let's say one day you stub your baby toe and you got a problem with the nail. So you go to a podiatrist and he's got to remove the nail. But then you go back because you have an infection. And ultimately that infection somehow affects the joint of the baby toe. So maybe there's a fracture that was then noticed. Maybe you're out of work, you're in bed for a little while. Maybe you actually have to have the baby toe amputated. So you add up all these expenses and that baby toe could cost you $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 maybe, right? Would you rather have a full set of teeth or a baby toe?
Full set of teeth.
Right, and I think most
don't even
people
have
would
to
probably
think.
say that. But one day,
But your teeth,
perhaps,
if you got a tooth infection, that can go into the rest of
absolutely, it can kill
your
you.
brain. Yeah, and-
People die
and
from
kill
tooth
you.
infections.
Yeah.
And the other thing, it's the first part of digestion. So people don't, in order to properly digest your food, in order to get the nutrients out of your food, your teeth have to masticate a bolus of food to a certain size, crush it up so that when it gets to your stomach can do its proper job. So that when your stomach does its proper job because your teeth did their proper job, it gets into your intestines and nutrients can be absorbed. And without good teeth or without proper chewing, it can actually affect your overall health. The other thing is there's a link between heart disease and
Yeah,
periodontal
that's odd.
disease.
What is that? I don't understand that.
Well, there's I guess there's two
know
ways to
that.
look at it. One is they notice with a lot of people who have heart attacks, they've done studies that they also coincidentally have periodontal disease.
Now, periodontal are the gums.
The gums in the bone that hold the teeth in. So there are certain types of bacteria involved in periodontal disease, and there's theory that that can somehow be detrimental to your cardiovascular health. But the other theory is that the opposing theory is, well, the guy who doesn't take care of himself, or girl, that eats crappy food and doesn't exercise or whatever it is the same person who probably doesn't take very good care of their teeth. So it's that behavior of not being a healthy person is not going to affect your heart but your teeth. But there are theories that one could affect the other.
Have you seen people? I've seen people. This man walking around with one tooth,
Yeah, seen that.
overweight, on some subsidy. How do they, if they're on these subsidies and everything, so they don't have subsidies for the teeth? How
Well,
how
that's-
long is he going to live?
I don't know because he's not going to chew his food properly. Although I've seen people gum food,
Ugh.
which is real. But anyway, my point before is so one day maybe they'll put the teeth back in the body, and when they put the teeth back in the body, maybe healthcare will pay for it. You go for a heart operation, you're not on the hook for 50%, and you're because in dental insurance, more often than not, it's $1,000 max. So, a few fillings, couple cleanings, it'll cover that. But if any substantial work, it doesn't cover. And then your question is, so what do you do?
Right.
You're poor and you need $10,000 worth of dental work. There are there are programs within the state of Massachusetts. I don't know exactly what it covers, but I think it does cover emergencies, tooth extractions. It varies from year to year on whether or not it covers dentures, but it's hard. And yeah, the guy with one tooth, what's he going to do?
Well, I know somebody whose middle tooth is missing. I think it's priorities too, because a lot of these people have money for different things, but they think nothing of the tooth.
Yeah.
But don't most dentists let you pay it out? Like if you really
Some do. And
want-
there's programs like Care Credit where you can sign up for that, and they have 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is to pay it off. But I always try to work with people, and there are a variety of different treatment options.
Yeah, for
you know.
now, the person out there whose middle tooth is missing, who says they can't afford it, but
You get a flipper.
but gets their hair cut or whatever, whether they're a man or a woman, what's going to happen to their whole thing? Besides, they move over and
It depends. The one tooth missing is probably indicative that there are other dental issues that should be addressed.
yeah.
When somebody comes into the office, first and foremost is do you have an infection? Is anything you have in your mouth going to create a health issue? And that's the first thing to be addressed. So a patient comes in as a new patient, first and foremost, do you have an infection? Because that needs to be treated. Second is what you have that's broken needs to be fixed. And then the third is optional stuff. And believe it or not, in a lot of people, a missing tooth here or there is optional. But there's ways to do it. There's ways where you can, you can have implants, you can have bridge work, you can have, some sort of removable device. So there are different treatments.
Yeah, so it just sounds like it's a matter of priorities, and whatever people's budgets are,
Right.
if they realize the implications of not
so
caring
you're
for
in
their teeth.
insurance. Are there plans out there that are?
There are many plans out there. The thing about these plans is, as Matt said, they could be reasonably priced, but and of course, the less you pay, the less benefits you get. But in reality, they don't cover some of the major services. They don't cover them very generously. They'll cover cleanings, they'll cover routine x-rays, they'll cover fillings, and those are all reasonable. But when you get into
Preventive.
crown,
It's
yes,
preventive,
when you get into crowns and root canals and that sort of thing, they give you a printout of an estimate, even with insurance, and we could be talking anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000
Yeah,
for a crown.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Is there any way around it? Like have it done in the hospital or?
Well, you can go to the dental school.
Oh, they
The
go to
dental
dental
school rates
school?
are probably maybe a third to half of what it would cost out in the private sector.
You get students.
You get students that are supervised. I taught at a dental school for 20 years. I taught at Harvard. So it was great, but it's very time consuming. So you go to the dentist, most dentists for a crown is 1 to 2 appointments. But in the dental school, it can drag on and on and on because first you have to go there, and then they have to take x-rays and detailed examinations, and you may need to have a cleaning before you have any crown work done, and it could go on for months and months. And so, the trade-off is time.
Now, why would it be that your teeth are not treated as any other
Yeah.
part of the body?
That's a great question.
It doesn't make sense because your
makes no
eyes.
sense.
Who do we get after for
Your
that?
eyes are part of. You see with your eyes, and
Oh, yeah, the
okay.
eyes
So
they
you
do.
even your medical insurance, if it's an organic issue like having cataracts or things like that, your medical insurance pays for it. But vision insurance is relatively inexpensive. If you have a problem with your nose, ear, nose, and throat, that's covered. Your
Why not?
ears,
Why
your
not?
hearing
why not
aids.
the teeth?
Why not
Yeah,
the teeth?
I
I mean,
don't
that's
know.
probably just
So
as
who
much.
do- who do
if
we
not
get
more.
after? for that.
Critical.
And really, that's the huge issue. If
It's a
you want
very huge
really, really
issue.
great dental care, then medical insurance to some degree is going to have to cover it. But I'll tell you the reason why. Money.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to pay for it. Because it would cost them, they'd be out on the hook for, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. So the quiet secret is let's keep the teeth out of the body.
Yeah,
And that's what they do. And it's all a money thing. It's always all a money thing
yeah.
for everything.
Yeah.
So, but one day maybe things will change, and maybe there'll be a new insurance company that says, "Hey, by the way, we're going to charge you 10% more, but your dental is going to be covered
Wouldn't that be great?
at with your standard rate that everything else is covered."
So as citizens, or she's in the insurance industry, what can we do to try to accomplish that? I just pray.
I guess the same thing we do with everything is call our congressman and try to get signatures and try to get an upswell of a grassroots movement to get I say we call it get the teeth back in the body.
I love it. We could make
Yeah.
signs, get the teeth back in the body.
You
Yeah, I
know?
like that.
No.
And a lot of people would be, I mean, your average because let me tell you something. I have a lot of patients. I see a lot of people. There are so many people that just don't even go to the dentist.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not in their budget, or it's just not in their
Yeah,
mindset.
they think they'll
They
wait.
go when they have a problem, when they have pain.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
We used to call. When I used to work at a practice, we would call people like that POs, pain only.
Yeah, well, you know something? One of my kids is like that. Thank God she went to the dentist and her teeth were fine. But I think there's something, too, if you grow up in an area where there's fluoride in the water, then your teeth are stronger, or is that a fallacy?
You know, fluoride is such a difficult topic to discuss because there are a lot of people out there that are just no fluoride because it's fluoride to some degree at certain levels is toxic.
Oh.
But I don't want to be one of those people who go against the grain. I never gave my kids fluoride. I'll just say that.
Well, I thought it's right in the water.
It is, but
wasn't
most
it
people
the
drink
water
bottled
here?
water.
Oh, well, now they do. But
Right.
years ago,
Right.
there was
Right.
no such thing as bottled water, as far as I know.
Yeah. But my
But-
kids, my kids, I mean, from my limited research study on my own children, they use fluoridated toothpaste,
Yeah.
but they never ingested it. But I can give you a whole host of scientific reasons why it's good to have fluoride. And
Yeah,
how
I
it
don't
makes
know
your
if they
teeth
still
stronger.
have the fluoride.
Well,
You got to worry about lead in the water now.
You got to worry about everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
I know we wanted to also hear some other interesting topics.
Oh,
that
yeah,
Matt had.
he's very
And
interesting.
this is, I guess,
oughta-
along
this
the
is-
line of not so
you've
much
got to be
how you
kidding.
got into dentistry. You've got to be kidding, because there's a whole other dimension of this gentleman that people would not associate
Yeah.
with his line of work.
Actually, I thought you had started out to be a musician, but then
I
something
really-
happened. You got to be kidding. You
I
haven't
really love music.
got to be
Music-
kidding, Dad.
Music is my life.
Is it really?
Yeah.
If you go in his office, there's
I have speakers everywhere and a lot of music memorabilia.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere,
Gold
even in the
records, platinum
bathroom.
records. Yes,
Even
yes.
in the bathroom? Yeah.
Do you know
even
the
in the
interesting
bathroom.
thing? You actually have to be dead to be in the bathroom. So all the musicians are.
Oh, the
See.
musician, the dead musicians?
Yes.
Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin,
Hendrix, yes, I have both of them in my bathroom.
Jim Morrison.
Don't have Jim yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay.
But yeah, I actually have one really good picture of John Lennon and George Harrison
Wow.
that I had to wait because George Harrison didn't die that long ago. But
Well, he has one, like you sit in the chair there and you look up and you see these people.
I have guitars and
Okay.
cool stuff and
Well,
stuff that was
you
given
play.
to me.
You play. You got
You
to.
play?
You want.
I
This is
do.
what you wanted.
I
This
play-
is you've got to be. You've got to be kidding.
I play guitar and drums, but my kids are really the musicians in the family. They've been playing out at bars and clubs since they were 7 and 9.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You've got to be
How
kidding.
many? How many do you have? Do you
I have 2 kids who are now 14 and 16. Who just
They
finished-
play that at that age. They play
Oh
in
my
clubs.
God, yeah.
Are they boys?
They're boys. They play. They used to play this club a lot in Quincy, called the Beachcomber.
Oh yeah, I remember the Beachcomber.
Beachcomber's
That's still open.
No, they
Beach,
finally
isn't it?
decided that developing it as a real estate property would be way more lucrative.
Oh, sure.
But so my kids play there. I don't know, maybe like 4 times, and it was a lot of fights. It was a lot of drinking and drunkenness, and the cops. When the cops show up and get on stage at 1 o'clock and shut it down, then that's rock and roll.
You know we have we have a book. Police officers are our
Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
So we say nothing but good things.
You know, I
We're
love police
everywhere.
officers, and actually, I thought about being a police officer at one point in my life, but I tried to. So are we limited on time? Cause
No, you're fine. You're
Keep
fine.
going.
I'll let you know.
So when I got out of high
you might
school,
be off the air, and we'll keep letting you talk.
when I
Yeah.
got out of high school, I wanted to join the Marines. So I said, I'm joining the Marines because my grandfather was before the DEA, but he was a federal agent.
What's a DEA?
Department Drug
Drug
Enforcement.
Enforcement.
Oh,
Agency.
drug enforcement.
So before the DEA, there was the Bureau of Illicit and Illegal Narcotics, whatever it was. So he worked during Prohibition, And then after they legalized alcohol, he did the other thing. He worked for the Treasury Department. So I always wanted to be like him because he always had these great stories. So I said to my dad, I said, yeah, I said, you know what? I said, I may skip school. I may join the Marines.
Skip school.
And, you know, maybe
Were
I'll
you the
become
only
a-"
son?
Yes.
Oh.
I said, and he said to me, he goes, you're going to college. Just shut up. You're going to college. And I was like, but Dad, you know, I could do the Marine thing for a little bit and then go to college. He goes, I was in the Army, and trust me, it's not for you. I said, why? He goes, you got to take orders from people who aren't as smart as you are.
What did he do? What was your father?
He owned a woman's clothing company in New York City.
Oh, this is in
Yeah.
New York now.
Yes.
And no sisters?
I have a sister, Lisa.
Oh, she was the smart one. She did everything right?
Was she
that way?
She's different than me. We always have an argument. I'm like, honestly, one of us is adopted. I'm not sure which one, but one of us definitely is because we're so different. But anyway, so my dad
Yeah.
didn't let me join the Marines, so I went to school. And then I got home from school after I graduated undergrad, and he goes, come on, we're going to lunch. I said, where? He goes, we'll go to a great place. So we get in the car, and he pulls up in front of the Army Recruiting Center. And he says, well, here we are. He goes, remember the deal? He goes, you were going to join the Marines after school. I said, no. No, I can't do that now.
And so how does that connect with the music?
So it doesn't, but I don't know, I get carried away. No, the music thing, I always played music, always really into music. And then I got my kids into it. So I have another interesting story. So there was this guy, Todd Marinovich. You probably never heard of him.
No.
Todd Marinovich was a NFL quarterback, only for 2 years. But when he was a little kid, his parents, from the time he was born, I don't think they fed him sugar. I don't think they fed him white flour. He had a whole special diet. By the time he was 12, he had an NFL throwing coach. So this guy was bred to be a football player. I think his mom was like an Olympic athlete. His dad was a football player. I think his grandfather was a football player. So they said, we have the genetics. What happens when you take a kid? See, I keep looking at Jerry. See, I go to the camera, then I look at Jerry. I want to talk to him. Jerry's
That's
here,
okay.
by the
We're
way.
almost over,
Yeah.
though.
So anyway, I'll make it short. So I thought, what if my kids didn't have the genetics to be a good football player, but what if I threw music at them? So before they could walk, I had them listening to all kinds of different music and playing all different kinds of music, and they developed into these musical prodigies. They can hear notes. So if I were to, they'd say, oh, that's an A.
Wow.
We'll go to a concert. We went to a concert the other night. So my kids are listening, and my one kid looks at the other kid. He goes, his G string's out of tune. And the other kid says, he goes, his A is a little flat, which makes his G string sound like it's out of
Isn't
tune.
that fascinating?
And the other one goes, oh yeah, I hear it now.
Wow.
I'm like, what are you guys talking about? They're like, Dad, you can't hear that? I'm
And
like,
these are 14 and
yeah.
16-year-olds.
But they've always been able to hear
Isn't that
notes and-
wonderful?
What
a-
instruments do
what
they
a
play?
They
talent.
play, my little one plays guitar and drums, and my oldest one plays the bass. So Brotherhood of Grace, YouTube channel, Brotherhood of Grace. Check it out.
Oh,
Awesome stuff.
and that's a rap.
Is it a rap?
Yes.
It's a
Oh
rap.
my God, this
Believe
was
it or
so
not.
much fun.
Yeah,
We're
well,
done.
we'll have to have
Wow.
you come back.
That was
with
the
it and
quickest
bring
half
the
hour
kids.
ever.
I told you
You guys
so.
are awesome.
I told you so. That
Yeah.
that you would just love it. Okay.
Yes, thank you. I
Thank
still
you.
want to hear that unedited story.
We're gonna
Okay.
get to
All
that.
right, as soon as
but
we
you can't
as
hear
soon as
it.
we close,
Out of
we're
the
going to
way.
listen to that. And we want to thank you. This is very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
I
thank you
really
guys. You guys
enjoyed it. It was
enjoyed
a
it.
lot of fun.
And you're very welcome to come back.
Thank you.
Uh,
I talk
so-
too much, but that's
No, we love
no,
it.
it's
We love it.
wonderful. It's wonderful.
So to our viewers, we thank you for watching. And if you have any questions about any of these topics, dentistry, music, whatever it may be, please let us hear from you, and we'll make sure that Matt gets the question and he'll be able to respond. And in the meantime, we hope that we will hear from you if you have any questions or feedback, or if there's any other topics you'd like to hear on our show, because this is your show, The Law, Your Money,
and you.